In a fast-growing social media world, deciphering between the true, the authentic, and the honest individuals creating real disruptive changes in their industry has become very difficult. Many people are quick to flash the cars, the money, but very slow to give people the true wisdom they seek. This is why we started the Real Estate Disruptors, to bring you in front of real disruptors, changing not only the barriers in their industries, but doing it and impacting millions of lives. Welcome to the Disruptor Network. Our next disruptor, a true New York City legend, from starting his first business at 17 to representing and employing thousands through his businesses and organizations. He is now the first Hispanic immigrant to ever run for New York City mayor. This is Fernando Mateo.
My parents immigrated to the United States in 1950. My older sister was born here, and my parents decided the last child, which was me, I should be born in the Dominican Republic, and that's where I was born. Came here when I was 2.5 years old. When I was 14 years old, I was forced to go into public school for the first time in my life. And public school, I found out everything about what wasn't good about New York City. Drugs, crime. You went to school for everything but to learn. And I decided that wasn't the life I really wanted. And what I did was drop out of school. I went to trade school and I learned how to lay floors. At 14 years old, I got a job. That was the foundation that made me, was being able to have an opportunity as a kid to realize that there was a lot more than my community, than the place that I lived in, than the ghetto that I lived in. And I was able to pull myself up by my shoestrings and continue the path that they taught me, the path of success. I would love to see that for every New York City kid. I think every child in New York should have the opportunity to work part-time after school. Instead of hanging out in their hood, they can learn what I learned. As mayor, I would make sure that I engage corporate America, that I engage small businesses, that I engage community businesses to employ kids from their community so that they can learn what I learned.
Coming together is going to bring a lot of results in reducing crime and being able to make safer streets and safer neighborhoods in the inner cities.
Well, at 17 years old, I got married. And ironically, I opened up my first carpet store. And I rented the space. My father signed the lease because I was 17 years old. I was a minor. And I had nothing in terms of money, but I had myself. I knew that I could do anything that I wanted to do in life. I was my only obstacle. I didn't want anyone to tell me when to get up, what time to go to sleep, what kind of car I could drive, where I should live. When you're employed by someone, that's your life, because you can only spend as much as you make. I wanted to be the person who determined how much I was worth, and that's what made me successful. Of course, I had my little experiences. I immediately hired 2 guys to do the installations, and I was the boss. And, you know, I had a store and I had a desk, and I was the boss. But after the first week, I didn't make enough money to pay them. So I learned a hard lesson, and that was, you can't sit in here. People aren't going to come to you. You got to go out and find them. I used to leave my home at 4 in the morning. I used to throw cards on the doors in every housing project around the city. And then people would call me. And I had this big empty store. I had no inventory, I had nothing. But I had a lot of samples. And I had a great gift, which was the gift of selling. And after I closed the store at 6 at night, I'd go out and do my measurements and give estimates and get deposits to those that wanted to give me a deposit, and do the job without a deposit if I thought they were gonna pay me, but didn't trust me because I was a kid. So it was pretty tricky, but I found the loopholes, and one thing that I had was a lot of energy. And I became very successful after that. So the store grew and grew and grew, and I built it to become, Carpet Fashions became the largest minority-owned floor covering company in America. We were doing $15 million when I sold the company back in early 90s. You know, I remember people used to chase me out of buildings thinking I was trying to break in, because imagine someone's opening the door while you're trying to throw a card under their door, and they see you there, they say, "What are you doing?" I say, "I'm just throwing a card, get out of here." And they used to chase me out of the buildings, but my store was open 7 days a week because that's all I had. My business became my life. It's what I dreamt, it's what I slept, it's what I... Remember, I depended on myself in order to pay my rent, support my family. I had a child, and they all depended on me. So I had to make it work. There was no turning back. There was no going back to becoming an employee. You know, I was tired of doing the same thing, and then I expanded into other businesses. You know, I started a money wiring business, started a construction company. It all evolved into restaurants and clubs and the nightlife, and I'm a stockbroker. I own a securities firm on Wall Street. I'm a principal, meaning I have my Series 7, my 63, and my 24. So there's a lot of things that I've done in a lot of different industries that I own. You know, in '89, I went to Rikers Island and I started a training program to teach first-time nonviolent offenders a skill. Like I learned the skill. And when they would come out, I'd get them a job. And that stopped recidivism. Basically, I taught the city a lesson. And that is, if you create opportunity for the young, they won't be in jail. Then I did Toys for Guns, and that was in '93. I got more guns off the city streets than anyone in history. I was able to get thousands of guns off the city streets in weeks, trading toys for guns. I was one of the most influential people in America. There were 5 of us. Bill Clinton, who had just won the White House, Madonna, who won the Grammys, Jimmy Johnson, Pat Riley, who had won the NBA championship, and Fernando Mateo. Can you imagine that? This was on the front pages of the New York Times.
Keeping drivers safe, that's the goal of a pilot program kicking off today, outfitting a dozen livery cab drivers with bulletproof vests.
We're going to reach out to NYPD, to individual police officers, and ask them that at the time they decide to retire, we would really appreciate if they can make a donation of their bulletproof vests to the Federation as well. In '99, they were killing 60 cab drivers a year, and they had no hope of turning that around. You know, and they came to me and asked me for help. And we formed the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers, which I'm their spokesman today, but I'm also the founder. And we stopped those murders and those assaults by bringing together the government, the mayor, the governor, and the police commissioner. And we fought tooth and nail, back and forth. I got $5 million out of the city to protect the drivers. They were being slaughtered and no one acknowledged that. That was unacceptable. Today, it's a much safer industry because of the work that we did to make it that what it is. And I did the same with the bodegueros. You know, bodegueros are sitting ducks. You walk in there with a gun, you shoot them, you walk out with their cash, and nobody realizes it until someone comes in and finds the body. So we worked to change that. We got cameras, we got lighting, we got, you know, panic buttons. We got all kinds of things available for them today. And that's what I do. I create change. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. This is a tough city to succeed. The easiest thing for me to do would be to move out, go to another state, where taxes aren't so high, where crime isn't so rampant, where the government helps and protects small businesses. That's the easiest thing to do. I can do that anytime. But I love New York. New York made me who I am. New York allowed me to be the person that I am. I've roughed it out. I've worked very hard. And you know what? I'm running for mayor because I want to bring my experience to every New Yorker. I want everyone to have the same opportunities that I had. This is a city of immigrants. Immigrants come here to work hard, to build businesses like I did, like my parents did, right? So we need to have a mayor that represents them too. This city has become very black and white, and they've forgotten everyone in between. We need to unite everyone.